Hello, it is Monday, December 27th, 2021. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It's a Monday puzzle, so we're back to a nice, gentle crossword, a themed crossword, but a fairly accessible one, I would say, to help us ease into the week. And this gentle puzzle, or at least the solve of it today, is brought to you by Calixto Navarro, Victoria Rojishka, and, as always, the inestimable Hood Monster. So thank you particularly to the three of you benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, and thanks to everybody else who has backed the Patreon campaign to help make this series a sustainable enterprise for me. If you'd like to join their ranks, you can do so at patreon.com/Daily Solve. There's a link in the description field underneath the video, and there you can gain access to the months of bonus video solves that I've recorded since the campaign began, as well as the new ones that go up on a weekly basis. I know I'm a bit late this week because of my remote setup not being quite as... it's not as simple to get things quickly recorded, but I will make up for it when I get home. And also don't forget about the Daily Solve Discord chat server, which... where you can communicate with other members of the Daily Solve community, other viewers of this series, about this series, the New York Times crossword, other crosswords, and crossword construction. And if you do happen to be a patron of the Patreon campaign, you can get an extra channel on that Discord chat server. The link to join is also in the description field underneath the video. All right, so before we solve today's puzzle, let's discuss a few clues from yesterday's. The big Sunday puzzle. George Adams points out that so there was a clue about George Washington and who ran against him, and the answer was no one. Although George Adams points out that technically John Adams did run against Washington, and since he garnered the second greatest number of electoral votes in both the 1788 to 89 and 1792 elections, he became vice president both times. And Kathy Swope explains that Dora Mater, which actually, that was one of the earliest clues in the puzzle. It was the thing about a brain covering, and it was early in the crossword, and I completely forgot to return to it after getting it through crosses. So fortunately, Kathy steps in to explain that it is the tough outer layer of tissue that covers and protects the brain and spinal cord and is closest to the skull. The dura mater is one of the three layers that form the meninges. She also observes that Baker's Joy, which was part of a clue, is a non-stick baking spray. Pam, which was the answer, is a cooking spray that comes in different formulations, including with flour. That's interesting. Greasing and flouring a cake pan is a typical first instruction to promote the cake releasing from the pan. So that, at least I do know. I baked mincemeat pies this year, as I did last year as well. And I have a Christmas pudding, which is well, if you live in the UK, you'll know what that is, and if you don't, you might not. It's a big it's kind of like a fruitcake, but a different shape, and I have it sitting at home waiting to be re-steamed. You have to steam it for about 8 hours. Anyway, those are all greased. The pans are all greased before I put those in their various cooking receptacles. Remy says that Snowpiercer is a great television series, based both on the 2013 movie, the movie was what I was familiar with, but also on the original 1982 French graphic novel, Le Transperce-Neige. For those interested, it's available on Netflix outside the US, so good to know. And finally, Robert Stevenson, regarding... he points out that Old School Ties is the social network of ex-public school boys in the UK who can do one another favors regarding job placements or promotions, since they share the same educational background, and they may even wear a tie that indicates this, e.g., an old Harrovian is one who attended Harrow, not that I went anywhere near a private education. So that was sort of what I had in mind with that clue. The thing that I was confused about was the inclusion of the word symbol or symbolic in the clue. And so I was wondering what the actual symbol itself was. So I was wondering, is the symbol the physical tie of these schools? And Robert is right. There are ties that correspond to these public schools. And the names are pretty classic. Which one did he point out? Old Harrovian for Harrow. I think the most famous is probably Old Etonian, those who went to Eton, probably the most famous of the British private schools. And although I think my favorite is those who went to Wolverhampton School, Old Wolfrunian. I very much enjoy that. Ridiculous. Anyway, let's get on to the solve. So we have a Monday puzzle, as I say, constructed by Adam Aronson. I recognize that name, certainly constructed a number of New York Times crosswords in the past, and edited, as always, by Will Shorts. And as I say, we will have a theme, so let's get started. All right, ain't that the truth? Feels as though that could be a few different things. Many hoppy brews in brief. Could be IPAs, could be ales as well. An ale tends to be a bit hoppy, but IPAs are particularly hoppy. And it does say in brief, actually, and ale wouldn't be in brief. So, or, isn't an abbreviated form, whereas IPA's India Pale Ale, of course, is abbreviated. Ain't that the truth? Not sure. What about this? Human beings, with a P, people, I suppose. And nonetheless would be yet, whoops, I typed that backwards, strangely. Ain't that the truth? This is going to keep narrowing down, and I'm still not going to see it. All right. Blank of faith, a leap of faith. Yeah, indeed. Oh, I'll say. Ain't that the truth? I'll say. There we go. And control blank delete, control alt delete. Oh, this is an interesting. Oh, I see. TV remote inserts often. It'll be AA batteries. I saw this AA double T, and I was wondering, it just so because of how it just so happened that I entered the letters into this answer, I was wondering perhaps this word will be, let's say it was something like art. It started with ART, and we have to spell each one each time, and then the theme will be something about doubling or pairs or something like that. But no, I don't think so. I think that might have been a coincidence. The answer is AA batteries, but it is a theme. It is a theme answer. And we see that both because we have the asterisk next to, well, that precedes the clue, and also we have 63 across highlighted. So I guess, I don't know, let's look at that and see what it says. This is our revealer. The revealer being the clue that explains what's going on with the theme and ties all of our theme answers together. And this says Tennessee Smokies or Portland Sea Dogs, or what the answers to the starred clues comprise. Are these a team? Each of these is a team? What the answer to the starred clues comprise? I don't know, actually. Interesting. What about this one? Sobriety support group session, informally. Oh, well, that could be AA for Alcoholics Anonymous, so that could start with O. So is this maybe AA or minor league team? So I don't know very much about this system, but I do know that in the U.S., you have Major League Baseball, which obviously is the top tier of professional baseball in the United States, but then you also have minor league teams, which have some kind of rating based on letters, and I think they're maybe AA and maybe AAA teams. So what would this be? AA team? Yeah, okay, so it could be. Tennessee Smokies or, and don't forget this says or, Tennessee Smokies or Portland Sea Dogs. So we're only referring to either one of them. So it's not AA teams, it's AA team. I mean, if that is the answer, that's what it would be anyway. So let's see, I bet we can fill in quite a few of these actually. So AA for Alcoholics Anonymous, Sobriety Support Group Session, AA meeting must be. And then what else? I'm going to do the thing that I so rarely do, but people always call for me to do in the comments, which is to try and get the theme answers once I know what's going on with them, which I now think I do. These are probably all going to start with 2 A's. Animal whose name means earth pig in Afrikaans. Oh, that's interesting. It must be aardvark. And we have another AA in Afrikaans, although not at the beginning, so it wouldn't have been suitable for this theme. Winnie the Pooh writer is, of course, A.A. Milne. And 4.0 on a transcript would be an A average. So in this case, the A's are split between 2 words. And we have one final answer, the clue, which is 3-time Emmy winner for Breaking Bad. Aaron Paul? Is that his name? Jumping stick, yeah, it must be. Jumping stick is a pogo. Vibe is an aura. There we go. Lift competitor is an Uber. And right angle shape, no, is an L. There we go. And actually, I just realized this is sort of a fun little nod to the constructor's own name because he is Adam Aronson, which is double A. And on top of that, his surname begins with double A. So Aaron, his surname Aronson would in fact be a suitable answer in this theme of this crossword. All right, well, there we go. Look at that. We filled out all of the theme answers, and we're only 5 minutes into the puzzle, so that's pretty good. So let's just close it out. It should be pretty straightforward with all of these crosses. 1 of 4 in the human brain. A lobe, frontal lobe, for instance. Actress Sissy Spacek. Pub barrel could be an ale keg. There's our ale. Got our ale finally. And indoor spaces with lots of natural light are atria, the plural of atrium. First Lady Bush, Laura Bush. And here's another, I guess, Republican political clue. Arnold Schwarzenegger or Ronald Reagan for California. Either one of them is an ex-governor. And again, it's an or clue, so we're only referring to one of the two. What's inside an inner tube? Air is inside an inner tube. Inner tube, the inflatable water sports toy thing. A4 automaker. This must be Audi based on these crosses as an automaker in 4 letters. And words from an alter ego. Oh, an alter ego. So someone at an altar in a church. I do. And the ego means, ego, I, myself. So I do. There we go. Very clever. I haven't seen that before. That cluing of I do. Home of 7 stands. Asia. So Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, those countries. And then that also makes what's central in heliocentrism. So the sun, heliocentrism meaning the sun being centered in the cosmos, I guess. Swing blank, when big bands were big. The swing era, the era of big bands. Big jazz bands. Total strangers in modern slang could be randos. And here we have fly high is to soar. And a fairy tale menace is an ogre. An emperor during the Great Fire of Rome would be Nero, who I think is determined by more modern historians not to have simply fiddled while Rome burned. I think Nero got a bad historical rap, from what I understand. And an element that also names a household appliance. Iron, of course, you have a pressing iron. Tropical lizard and iguana. To give off as vibes is to emit vibes. And that's a case where when we have this as vibes, this is probably apparent, but just in case it isn't, what that means is we'll get a closer match to the synonym, in this case, give off, if we but if we think of the word in the context of vibes. So give off could mean emit, and I think on a more difficult day than a Monday, we probably wouldn't have the as vibes. We would just have give off and we'd get emit from that. But if you consider it in the context of vibes, we're going to emit vibes, give off vibes. It just makes it a little bit easier to see the match. All right, prefix with physics, metaphysics, looks good. A skirmish could be a tussle. Pollution in city skies is smog. And is that, I think, a portmanteau of smoke and fog, I believe, maybe? Could be wrong. Acknowledges with a head tilt. Could be nods to or nods at, but let's check these crosses first. A parenthetical comment could be an aside, something that you say sotto voce. Blank well that ends well. All's well that ends well. And a car for a vacationer could be a rental car. And a Disney snow queen from Frozen would be Elsa. I do know this. That's the kind of clue I often don't know, but I did this time, so well done to me. Like forever. What does that mean? So anyway, this acknowledges with a head tilt would be nods to. Like forever. Oh, I see. Eons. Okay, so it's a slightly goofy clue and answer here. It's saying, that took like forever. That took eons. All right. I was wondering if it meant to like something forever, perhaps, and there was a bit of misdirection by making it sound like the thing that it was. But no, it was the it was that thing. It means sort of a slangy way of saying forever. Okay. Prefix with enterologist. Huh. Oh, gastroenterologist. There we go. So a specialist doctor dealing with, I don't know, intestines and stomachs and things. I would think word with butter or stadium. Shea Butter, Shea Stadium. Sounds familiar. And an Iowa campus town. I think I know this because of a ridiculous video that was created by perhaps staff members from this town. Or not staff members, maybe they were people on the local council or something. I'm not sure. But they made a promotional video for their town of, I think it was Ames, Iowa, I think. And it's quite something. And it sort of went minorly viral on the internet. And I think that's how I'm familiar with Ames. All right. Section of a sentence. A phrase, perhaps? Let's check the crosses. Yeah, mini albums in brief are EPs, extended plays. Those are the smaller vinyl discs with the shorter runtime. Section of a sentence, right, so it probably is phrase, but let's check the crosses. Say blank, doctor's request, say ah, so we'll add another H there. Summer wear with a t-shirt could be shorts. Oh no, it wasn't shorts the other day, it was shorts weather that came up. And so to consider as a judicial case would be to hear a case, and down blank in Maine would be down east, I guess, Maine. I'm not sure what that's referring to. Is this something they say in Maine, perhaps, about the rest of the Northeast? Because Maine would be the northernmost state of the American Northeast. So perhaps they say down east to refer to, Boston and New York and Pennsylvania and the other parts of the Northeast. I'm not really sure. That would be my guess, but maybe someone will tell me. Shapes made in the snow. Snow angels are made in the snow. Some volume controls are knobs. Snag, to snag something could be to nab it. An arch competitor is a rival. Lacto-blank vegetarianism, lacto-ovo vegetarianism, so milk and eggs are referred to there. And Lena of Chocolat, Lena Olin, it's an actor whose name I know. Big name in DVRs is a TiVo. Wow, that's funny. That came up just yesterday or the day before. And a little criticism would be a nit. You might pick a nit or two, nitpick. Banking giant that makes the venture card. Capital One sounds familiar. I don't know what's special about that particular card, but I do recognize Capital One as a credit card issuer. You don't need to be blank, Roy. Rhyming Paul Simon lyric. You don't need to be coy, Roy. That's 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover, I think, that song. Filmmaker Duvernay, Ava DuVernay. Oops. And yin's opposite is yang. Not yin yang. That always drives me bonkers. It's yin and yang. All right. Implement with ink is a pen, an implement with ink. And I guess you could argue that this could be accurate as a noun or a verb. An implement that uses ink is a pen, but also maybe you could argue that you could implement a contract with ink. You could pen a contract with ink. I don't know. That's sort of weird usage, so I wouldn't necessarily encourage it, but you could argue it. Oh, keister in Leicester. So this is British slang, referring to a rear end, an arse in British slang, I would think is what this probably is. Singer Bareilles, or Boreas. It looks like Sarah or Cara. I'm guessing Sarah. Let's see. Use a swizzle stick. Yeah, stir looks right. And forward as mail is resend. I'm just going to check the crosses before I enter the last cell. Gotcha would be IC. A minor haircut is a trim. And I think we got everything else. And so I forgot to mention for this. When we see keister in Leicester, these don't really rhyme. They look like they're supposed to rhyme, but they don't. Anyway, this comes up quite often in the crossword where you'll see a place, a geographical location, and that's telling you that the answer is going, well, I mean, it's not that every time you see a location it means this, but very often when a clue contains a geographical location, you're meant to infer from that we want the answer in the language or dialect or, slang of that location, in this case, British English. All right, anyway, resend, and there we go. that was our Monday puzzle. A nice, gentle solve, and we were... Oops, sorry. Okay. And we were able to get quite a bit of it done very early, thanks to our theme. So we had AA batteries, an AA meeting, an aardvark, AA Milne, an A average, Aaron Paul, and all of these comprised... Oh, I see. So I never really fully slotted this all together. So this says what the answers to the starred clues comprise. So all of these answers comprise a single AA team. We have a team of 6 AA answers. That's what this is ultimately saying. And of course, also the AA team refers to the Tennessee Smokies or the Portland Sea Dogs, which must be minor league baseball teams in the U.S. So there we have it. A nice, clever theme, and I really enjoy the meta element of this, which I can only assume was knowingly and intentionally referring back to the crossword constructor's own name, both surname and initials. He could come back with a AAA. Is there AAA teams? I think there might be as well. And A. Aronson would be an answer that would fit for the AAA team, although that would be a little tougher. I guess you could get batteries again. You could get batteries. And actually, AAA club or something, the American Automobile Association, you could probably squeeze a AAA team, a AAA theme out of this. It might be a little bit tougher, but I think you could get there. Anyway, a good, solid, smooth solving Monday puzzle, I would say. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do subscribe to the channel. Please do subscribe. And you'll be able to easily access these videos from your subscription tab in your YouTube app or phone, or website is what I should say, and be notified if you so desire. You don't have to be. Anyway, if you know someone who might like this series, please do pass it along. You can do so, well, I don't need to tell you how you can do so, but I would recommend perhaps doing so either in person or through your online social media or community of choice. And you can follow me on Twitter at The Daily Solve. And like I said at the beginning of the video, there's also the Patreon campaign where you, for a few pounds or the equivalent in your local currency each month, you can gain access to a whole wealth of bonus video solves, as well as the new ones that go up each week, and other benefits besides, such as that credit at the beginning of the episodes, and at that same tier, an exclusive Let's Check the Crosses mug. So that's that, and I hope you'll be back tomorrow for the Tuesday puzzle. Should be another relatively gentle themed puzzle. That's what we expect on Monday and Tuesday. So I hope you'll join me then. And until that point, please do have an excellent remainder of your Monday. Take care.